I take a puff off the black and blow the smoke from my nose while I come up on the plan and try to get me some dough. I'm hunting lames down, trying to make them stink. Tired of dancing bullshit like they fucking insane. What I gotta do to make you lames believe me? Keep hiding in the shadows, point you out like E.T. I'm fiending for beats like Seymour feed me. Close caps and flow, so you still can't read me. Cut your boy from the south, man.
And we are live. Welcome back to another episode of the Consistency Conversation. Today on the show, we are international again, all the way from the UK. We have my main man and author of Total Fitness Over 40 and his new book, Breaking Bad Eating Habits. This is my main man, Nick. Nick, welcome to Consistency Conversation. How are you?
Thank you very much, my man. Yeah, doing good, doing very good. It's been a long day, but a good day. So, talking to you now at 10 p.m. over in the UK, or just gone 10 p.m. now. So, happy days.
Good. 10 p.m. there, 5 p.m. here. We're about 5:15 or so right now. So, Nick, you are 38 years old and you've written your second book, but your first book was called Total Fitness After 40, and I had a pleasure of reading the book, one of the first ones. I got the opportunity to read it. So what at someone who is under 40 years old, what made you write a book about fitness over 40?
Well, it's funny you say it, because actually I got married a month ago, and my best man...
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, sir. But my best man decided to bring that up in the speech. He's like, you're the only person I know who could get away with writing a book for over 40 to 38. The main reason really is because, firstly, I've been a PT for what, 8 or 9 years now. I suppose I started in fitness 2013 officially, and then became a PT 2014. Mm-hmm. And I suppose 90% of my clients are over 40 at 50 and some 60. I've had ones in their 80s. And what I've just noticed a consistent pattern. And it's not, the funny thing is the book actually really, I mean, if you'd like, I've got a book here, if you could really cut that off. Really, in reality, because this is for everyone. It's just that I did a course in self-publishing, and the whole point is to find gaps in the market. Obviously, you want to do something you like, but also that's going to potentially generate some profit. So, I found the total fitness over 40 niche was a good one to get into, but. Yeah, I found just, even in my 30s, what happened was when I was younger, I was always doing, it'd be weights. It would be a little bit of cardio, maybe 5 minutes stretching. Everything was about getting big. Everything about the anterior chain, chest, biceps, quads, not even so much quads. Looking good. Yeah, I try.
Yeah. Walk around on the beach looking good with our shirts off. Absolutely.
This is it, exactly. And it's the mirror muscles. And, and then for girls, normally it's, I'm not sort of, being specific to men and women, but, it is generally true.
Generalizing.
Yeah, just to generalize, in a kind of realistic way. Women do tend to go for more the kind of legs, bums, arms, and guys tend to go for more the chest, shoulders and arms. Very, very few of us actually really think about the back and posture and all that kind of stuff, which I'll get to in a bit. But, besides even the weight aspect of it, as you're getting older, you're thinking, hang on a minute, you do all this stuff with your clients and you don't see many people doing mobility drills before they work out. You don't see many people doing balance work and stability work or agility work. And all this stuff, doesn't really matter when you're that young, because you're young. You aren't that stiff. You aren't that, you have generally balance is debatable, but most, you watch a 2-year-old sit in a squat position and, they have us for breakfast in terms of form.
Like ain't nothing.
They can just sit like nothing. Yeah. I mean, that's why you call it child's pose, right? For the child's pose, you're just lying down and you can just do it. Mm-hmm. For me now, it's like getting down into a child's pose or a really deep squat is tough.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted
trying to get back up.
You're trying to reclaim your youth.
Yeah.
I guess in lots of ways, dude. But so what it was, I looked at this stuff and I looked at myself and I thought, God, I really need to start doing this stuff more and with my clients, because you notice it. You think, well, they're not having these problems because they're not lifting weights. They're having these problems because, some of it, strength's everything in one respect. I think it's the most, that and nutrition are probably the two most important. But, strength is not just one thing. It's not just lifting weights. There's different elements of strength. There's, core strength. Once again, there's ankle stability, something, which is it's all part of strength. And I just thought, well, I got to a point where, I'm a personal trainer. I'm also a guitar teacher and a drum teacher. And I was like, I do client-based stuff. I wanted to build some passive income. So I thought, right, and this self-publishing course popped up. These are McKelson twins in Forbes magazine about doing self-publishing on Amazon. I thought it's great. You haven't got to restock the product. It's print to order. You know, once it's out, you just got to promote and market. And I thought doing fitness would be awesome. And I thought this book, there was kind of 7 things I'd always talk about with my clients. And, you know, once again, I'm sure there's something I'm missing because, you know, no one's perfect.
Yeah.
But I think these 7 things, if you do all these things on a weekly basis, you will, you know, be a pretty fit, healthy, strong person. And we're never going to be perfect. We're not athletes. So this book's not written for athletes. It's written for beginners / people who just need to get back into training or have maybe are really good at cardio, maybe really good at strength, but lacking maybe in their flexibility or their mobility, etc. So I just wanted to give people an all-round perspective. And it's nothing new. It's not like I invented this. It's not like, you know, I've just patterned these 7 things, but it's all been said before. It's just the problem is these days, I don't think it's being said enough. And the more people that say it, the more it's going to get through. So, you know, I've never claimed to come up with anything like this new revolutionary method. It's the same with the second book. It's just going back to basics and just thinking, right, what do I need to do? And unfortunately, my book's really bad news for people who want a quick fix because my books are saying you need to do more, not less. There's no 6-minute a day sessions. There's no, you know, just do this and you'll be fine. It's unfortunately, it's a, you know, it requires consistency and it requires commitment, but that's not a bad thing because, you know, I think especially in this world at the moment, people could do with a bit more of that. So, and that includes me. That's not saying, you know, I'm not perfect, man, by any means. So, yeah, I guess that's why. So I'm not 40, but I feel like one.
I actually, you know, a lot of people have talked about, you know, 40 is the new 30 or the 20 and stuff like that. And, you know, I feel really good at 45. Like I'll be 46 in a couple of weeks. And
oh, man, nice. You don't look at it.
Yeah, and like I feel good though. Like I'm down at the weight that I want to be. I walk around about 160. You know, I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day. You know what I'm saying? But mostly 5'6". But I just, you know, I got back into, you know, over the last couple of years, I got back into a lot more body weight exercises, and for years I did, you know, the weights like you got back. You know, back behind you and stuff, the weights, the heavy weights, the heavy squats, all of those things. Yeah, I did all of those, and I still do them. I just don't do them as heavy anymore. Like, I don't put 3 plates on there and start squatting and stuff like that anymore. Like, I just don't. You know what I mean? And
ego goes when you get a bit older, doesn't it? You don't need to.
Yes, absolutely.
No one to impress anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody to impress. And I remember one time I tried to impress somebody and end up hurting my back, so I'm just like, I'm just kind of done with that.
Yeah, it does happen, you know. And I've really actually found, and a lot of it's in the book, but because body weight's great. Don't get me wrong, body weight is brilliant, and ideally, it's like, you know, in some ways it is the best. But the problem with body weight is that not everyone can do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why the TRX is so good, for example, and you know, just finding different ways of being able to manipulate your own body weight. But, you know, just being able to, just do some pull-ups and they're just all press-ups and your hips are sagging and you're hurting your lower back. You know, body weight's only good if you do it right and if you can do it and if you're able to do it. So it's difficult. So I'm really getting to the cables, man. Not the static machines, but they actually just, because you can completely manipulate your range of motion on there. And just like good chest, man. I haven't chest pressed for like about 2 months now. I've just been doing lots of cables, light and just holding in, releasing slow, obviously, as you do. And just, once again, it's not sacrificing form for ego.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
your second book is about breaking bad eating habits.
Yeah, I definitely. It's not about the other thing Breaking Bad was about.
Yeah, it was a good show. I like.
Oh, it's great ending.
Yeah. I probably could watch it again if I had if I had a couple of weeks and I had some free time to binge. That would be one show that I would sit down and binge again.
It's great. I'm rewatching Dexter. I don't know if you ever saw that. That was good.
Never saw that.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I got my wife into it, but Breaking Bad. Great. So yeah. I did kind of have that. Not, you know, it wasn't planned, but I wanted to talk about, like, you know, essentially breaking bad eating. So I didn't say it with the show in mind. Yeah. But then I realized, okay, that sounds quite cool, and like, you know. for the like 1% of the population still remember it. It's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on. You're going to ask the question.
Oh yeah, just what caused we talked about what caused you to write the book for over 40, but what caused you to write something about eating habits? Is it did your clients experience a lot of bad eating habits?
I mean, in the kind of logistical sense, when I did the course, they say you should write 2 books. So you should aim to write 2 to start with. You write 2 and then you can do 2 books, and then a 3rd book where you bundle them together, do like a 2-for-1 deal. So they can buy 2 and it's cheaper to buy the 2 together, rather than 2. So from that purely like just honest factual point of view, I was like, I need to think of 2. And I was like, well, how can you start nutrition in 1 chapter? Total Fitness. Well, you can't. I mean, every single chapter in Total Fitness After 40 can be a book in itself. And I have had a few. Some criticism I have. It's like, you're just kind of like, you're not really going too deep into it. I'm like, well, yeah, but otherwise the book would be like 6,000 pages. And like, people don't want it. We live in 2021, man, where if you've got an intro to a song that's longer than 10 seconds, apparently that won't go on the radio. So you've got to, I'm trying to make it easy to read and kind of, but I did think I want to kind of delve into some of these separately. So nutrition is not number 1. I was like, I've got to do something about nutrition, but at the same time, I'm not into fad dieting. Don't get me wrong, man. Like, and people watching this will be like, I've done keto diet and it does work. I'm like, and you're right, it does if you can maintain it. But the thing is, most people do it for a bit and then go back to the normal thing, and then they do it again, and it's like a yo-yo thing. And I'm not saying like keto's bad, because having great fats and having like less carb, if you can keep that energy up and your nutrition and your micronutrients, then it's fine. And your fiber. I mean, if you can do all that stuff, keto is good, but it's just 1 beer and you're done.
Yeah, and I feel the same way about diets. I'm not into fat diets. I'm really anti-diet. I'm okay with diets if, someone's about to have surgery or they need to get down real quick for something specific.
Totally. If it needs to be done,
cutting
out the alcohol and stuff is.
Yeah.
I don't look on that as dieting. I look on that as just being good.
Yeah. Well, I can see some people can kind of use it to kind of jumpstart their diet or jumpstart their eating habits or something like that. But very minimum, and I see people with the juices and you drink this and I'm just like, I always wonder, how good is all of those things? And at the end of the day, how sustainable is any diet?
Of it.
And for a lot of people, they don't. Yeah, a lot of people can't sustain the diet.
A lot of people don't. And do you know what? The people who can, and who probably will be like, who probably will criticize what I've written, that's cool, because at the end of the day, you are. I'm not saying. I said the chapter is like why diets don't work for most people. It's not that they don't work, period, but. You wouldn't be reading my book if diets worked. Yeah. So you're reading the book because obviously, you're looking for something, but I'm not offering the quick fix. I can't do that because that's not what life's about.
Yeah. I don't think there is a quick fix. I haven't found one yet. I'm 45.
You're alive for a long time.
Yeah.
Only a quick fix if you do it for a week and then you pass away or something. Or you just, so you've got, it's something you've always got to do. So even if you did the keto diet, that's still not a quick fix. You still got to do it for the rest of your life to make it consistent. So, and like I said, I'm not knocking that. I would bring it up as an example. That's because I know it works, because it is, there's a lot of nutrition in the keto diet, and my brother's done it and he's got some great results. I mean, he was shredded when he did it. It does work in terms of like getting trim, because, carbs, obviously, carbs are carbs. But, I don't want to live in a world where I can't eat rice and pasta and potatoes. So why would I want to live in that world without lasagna and without roast potatoes? Like, you have to, the point is, I guess, is you have to find a way of your mind being able to kind of be at peace with those things, be like, it's just okay, because if you're like, I can never have chocolate again.
Yeah,
it's like it controls you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like alcohol, where it's like you have this physical addiction and some people are really controlled by it, which I really obviously sympathize with. But most things you do have. I mean, I love my red wine. It's something I could easily drink every day if I wanted to. Yeah. But I have to be able to balance that with everything else, and drink maybe a couple of times a week and be like, that's cool. But if I'm like, I can't drink, then all I'm thinking about is that, like, I'm not allowed to, especially when someone else tells you can't.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think,
like the missus.
Yeah, like the missus. Mine, she
like,
drinks.
she's good,
She like,
but it's that. I think that's it. It's just I wanted once again just to write something where people don't need to feel they've got to. I mean, it's difficult. I can't. That especially this book. I can't fix anything for anyone. I can give you the information to go and try it and see if it works for you, and it won't work for everyone because not everyone's the same. But I just didn't want to do anything extreme on each book, like, oh, this is the thing to do. There's a book out there, and I'm not, once again, not knocking the guy, because it's called Weightlifting is a Waste of Time and So is Cardio. I mean, that's just a lie.
Yeah.
Straightforward lie. It's not a waste of time. But there's a better way, but it doesn't mean that weightlifting and cardio is a waste of time. It just means that you prefer doing it this way.
Yeah. I think it can be a waste of time if it's done improperly, or if it's not done with consistency. Like, I see people who, I mean, I've seen people at the gym, especially back in the day when I was in like Planet Fitness or even at the military and stuff. Like, I would see people that go to the gym for months, have no results. But when I go to the gym and I see them, they're on their phone. They're, you know what I mean? They're in the mirror. They're like lollygagging on the treadmill. And it's like, you just here wasting and the reps your are like this. Time.
The reps are like that. There's just no control. And it's like, control. You gotta laugh at people because it's not fair either. Because bless them, they're just doing, but yeah, you're right. You do have to, that time in there. God, when you're in the gym, right? And you have your headphones on, and you think, right, and you're not feeling it. You go in, you're not feeling it. You warm up, put your headphones on, a really good song comes on. And you go in the zone and you just zoned into it for like 45 minutes. And then you make that big mistake of looking at your phone. And you're like, that's it. Or you make the mistake of going, oh, hey, mate, how you doing?
Yeah.
And then that's it. You're done. Like, you're not saying you can't carry on, but it's not the same. It's like 45 minutes of like Bruce Lee in the zone. And then all of a sudden, bam. And it's like, you can still do it. And it's not means you had a waste of time, but you need, I suppose my point is you need to find a way of, however it is, of finding that time. And it doesn't have to be an hour, because in that way, why does it always have to be an hour? Can't it be 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Can't it be, if you're going to do a split session, can't it be half an hour? Just do chest and triceps and core over half an hour, and just, get in there, and just do a really good half an hour, 35 minutes, rather than just a waste of time. I've got to do an hour and it's horrible, and you're on your phone and you end up wasting most of it. And because your rest period is so long between sets, you're not getting the right results. And then your nutrition shit, you're not getting enough protein and enough fiber and enough hydration. So, it's you're right, man. You're 100% right. It really is that, as you said, that consistency and that making the most of that time. So
yeah, because I mean, some people like I haven't been to the gym in probably 2 years. I bought everything at the squat rack. Yeah, and I got everything downstairs in the gym. I mean, everything downstairs in the garage that I need. Yeah. So and I got good hills over here to run. Right in the next door neighborhood to me. So I don't have to leave anymore. So, but I do remember all of that stuff. And the thing about it, it's not about how much time you actually spend working out. It's the effectiveness of the workout. And if you got a good diet and eating plan to go along with it, like, you'll be fine. But you can't combine a crappy diet with a crappy workout, with the lazy attitude, with being on your phone the whole time in the gym and expect to get results. And I see it all the time. Well, I used to see it all the time. And
I do still see it, but I am at a gym actually where people tend to work pretty at least hard and quite consistently, at least. I mean, I'm a kind of like one of the sort of posher gyms in. It's good because what happened was I used to teach spin class and boxercise, and I said, I really like the gym more than my gym I was at PTing, and I was like, oh, can I just join the gym? But do you reckon you could do me a discount? Because I'm teaching. Because they said you can work out for free when you're there. I was like, cool, but I'm only there twice a week. I was like, well, I want to come. So they gave me like, £60 or like the equivalent, like maybe $75 rather than like $110 or something. So I got quite a decent discount. And I'm still there doing it. And I haven't taught a class for 2 years. But they still give me the discount. They haven't said anything. But, that's quite, once again, it's a lot of kind of middle class, people go in that generally, once again, they're all tend to be over 40, 50, but they at least they're there all the time, and they do tend to work pretty hard. You do see some funny ones and ones you There's that part where you want to film it and be like, I've got to show them. But then it's like, that's not very professional. But, you know, I think the other thing is really, and this is where it's the lack of knowing your tempo in your rep. So it's like everyone focuses on the concentric, right? Just get it up. And then afterwards, you don't hold it and you just kind of almost drop it back. You're focusing. Actually, the eccentric is the strength part of it, really. It doesn't feel that way because it's the easier bit to lower it down.
Is that like considered the negative when people talk about the negative?
Exactly, the negative. Let's say positive. Yeah, for like layman's terms, positive, negative.
Okay.
But it's like at the moment it's like positive, negative, negative, and there's no control. And and one thing I've noticed, that's why the cables are so good, because you lighten the weight and you really focus on. You come in, you squeeze, and then you lower back, and it's the mind muscle connection. You need to think about what you're trying to work. And that's as simple as tensing your bicep. That's my muscle connection. If you can tell you can pec pop, if you can do like like the Rock pec pop. If you can do it, that's my muscle connection. Yeah. So when you're doing those reps, I'd say to anyone watching this, when you're doing your reps now, right? I'm working my glutes. So when you do a hip thrust, squeeze your glutes when you get to the top. Don't just lift your hips and then kind of just focus on what you're doing and think, right, I'm going to squeeze my glutes together. Like I'm stopping something coming out, and then I'm going to do my biceps like I'm really trying to tense them. Okay, you like wrestling, right? Have you heard of Diamond Dallas Page?
Oh yeah, DDP.
DDP yoga, man. You heard of DDP yoga? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all dynamic resistance. It's taking your own body and you're making your own resistance, like pretending like you're moving through clay, gripping, and you're your own weights, and it works. You're never going to get huge from it, but then most people doing a yoga and don't want that. They want to be flexible and they want to be mobile and they want to be strong within themselves. But as you said earlier, as you do get older, and this is why, because no one in their 20s is going to care about this stuff really. I'm not saying no one, but less people. When you get to 40 or you get close, you start. It's a milestone, isn't it? And you start thinking, I'm 40. I better get myself in shape. And that's why, hence that sold better, because if it was total fitness after 20, I don't think it would have sold.
It's 40 is, man, it's good, man. My 40s have been great. I'm enjoying them, and I think the second half of my 40s is going to be better than the first half.
Of course it is, because you're going to make it that way, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I'm in shape, and
you're in charge, dude. So
I'm in charge. There you go.
Oh yeah.
I took back charge of my life, and I'm not saying like I've never been like overweight or any. Well, I have been overweight a couple of times in the military, but because of the standards, being 5'6", 5'6", 5'7", somewhere in there, depending on who did my height. And one time I was 170. Yeah, and I think my max weight for my height was like 174 pounds, but I was like 189. So I was a lot heavier, but I was like solid muscle. Like I had a 28-inch waist. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was good, but I mean I still passed. Because I met the height weight standards or the BMI standards for my weight. But still I was overweight. But I never struggled with eating and, physical fitness and stuff like this. I just have been, over the military standards at some point. But at the same time, I do remember, gaining a little dad bod for a little bit and wanting to work it off and stuff. And you see other people and, you start just living life and you're like, man, like, I just don't want to look like that anymore. It's like, and then start wanting, and like, for me, the main goal of my fitness is, other than like, I needed to sleep and all these other daily benefits, is the longevity. Like, I want to be around for a long time. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You got kids, right?
Yeah, I got 3. So,
3 kids, there you go.
And I got 2 grandkids.
Oh, gee, really? How old are your kids?
16, 19, and 28. No, 26.
Fair play. So both grandkids from your 28-year-old.
He's married with 2. So that's cool. Man. Actually, I went to go see them this past week.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was good. So like that's those are the reasons why I want to be around. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to have conversations with my grandkids and my great grandkids. Like I want my sons to be able to reach out to me when they're 50 and 60 and we can have a conversation and I'm still around. You know, like me and my son, hey, me and my middle son are we're in conversation about playing rugby on the same rugby team. Yeah.
Oh, and, you guys see rugby out down in cool.
Yeah, not a lot. It's but it's gaining some traction out here where we're at.
Yeah.
And I played a couple years ago one game, and my son has played for a couple of years. So
that's pretty cool, man. So do you prefer that to football then?
No, I prefer football all day. I grew up playing football. Yeah, I just kind of fell into rugby because my son was playing football with some guys at school, and he ended up getting introduced to rugby, and that was all. Yeah, he was kind of hooked after that, and I never really got into it. I used to go to the games and stuff. I thought it was interesting, but then I played one day.
Oh man, it's brutal.
It was game over after that. I was sore for about 2 weeks after that. Yep. But I had to been like 40 or 41. But I had a lot of fun though.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I mean, it is brilliant. And the funny thing is I was actually never a sporty guy because I'm from a family of musicians. So if I turn the camera, look, it's all
the drums, the guitars,
got the drums, got the guitars, got the keyboard. Yeah, so I'm kind of like a drummer, guitarist, songwriter. So I was never really into like sport that much, but I've always loved the gym. That's the thing, and it's like like it's great. I think it's great what people are doing it from home, but I really did figure out I felt like something was missing over lockdown, and you kind of know what it is, but you don't know until you go back to it. And I was doing my workouts because we built this during lockdown, this studio, because this isn't the house. Okay. This is at the back of the garden, and the house is upstairs, or the flat, because we're in like a small flat. It's like in England, everything's small. So we got like a 2-bedroom place, which is like one room for you guys. But I got back to the gym and I was just like, do you know what? I love the ritual of it. If that makes sense, like I love going there. I love going to the locker, saying hi to everyone. I love going upstairs, doing my thing, going for like the swim afterwards. And if I've got time, going for like a quick steam room or whatever it is. Yeah, I just definitely am a gym bunny.
Yeah. See, I'm going back, but right now I'm working and doing stuff. So I'm gonna retire in a couple of years. And when I retire, I'm going back to the gym because like you said, I miss those things too. I miss seeing some of the same dudes every morning because I was the 5 o'clock dude. So I was in goals at 5 a.m. And it was always a couple other retirees.
And guys,
yeah, always the same old dudes in there, in the morning. And I enjoyed it, especially when I worked at a university a few years ago, and that was probably the best, because it was a huge locker room, moving around. But all those, I don't know if you've seen those memes or those jokes about those old guys in their 70s and 80s that walk around with their towels off. That is so true. I used to be like, dude, what are y'all doing? Like, I would be over there and they'd be over there like drying off like in front of each other.
Hair dryer on there.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Like they're over there having a conversation, but I'm thinking these dudes is probably like professors or like they got big money and stuff, and they just old and they just don't care.
Well, they grew up in the 60s as well, so I mean,
probably before then.
Yeah, I mean, my dad grew up in the 60s and all. He used to walk around naked all the time. Even my friends used to call him Naked Jeff. Like he just walk. So he just stand there with it. Hey, you're right. I think it is a bit generational. I think as you get older, you do tend to care less.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't think as much. So it's like, well, I don't care. Like, what's the big deal?
I agree.
But at the same time, it's a bit like
Yeah. So you've written 2 books on fitness and eating habits. You didn't play sports and stuff growing up. So how did your journey start to where you got all the way up here? Where did the fitness journey start?
Do you know what? It's funny actually, because there's 2 things that aren't even quote unquote real that really got me into wanting to train: Rocky and wrestling.
I don't see
I'll
nothing
be
wrong
honest,
with it.
it's nothing. Unfortunately, I love to say it was. I think I really like. I love like MMA and stuff, and like boxing, and and I love tennis and stuff like that. And I like soccer, football. I like American football. I support the Chicago Bears, like when I was younger, and like which is probably that's a good thing.
I mean, they have like 4 or 5 fans, but no.
Yeah,
but I remember the
like
85
Steve
Bears.
Michael was in it, and like it was back when it was kind of like that kind of that era, that kind of Lawrence Taylor era when he was kind of around.
Lawrence Taylor, you talking about the 80s then?
Well, and early 90s.
Early 90s. Okay.
Yeah, he retired I think in 95, didn't he? It was 94, 95.
Mm.
But I never got into it. So I'm really bad with sports. But I've just loved I've loved Rocky films, obviously. I think so many people who lift weights were inspired by Rocky. I know it's not real, but it is real because Stallone is him.
Yeah.
He's his own product.
Yeah.
He is Rocky. He's just not a boxer.
Yeah.
So in terms of the message and the positivity and the sort of focus on self-determination and self-responsibility and not blaming other people for your shortcomings. Yeah. Like taking control of your own life, getting knocked down, getting back up. That stuff. And then I was 12 and we talked about it before we went there. I watched The Undertaker grab Diesel and drag him under the ring, and I was like, oh no, that's of hell. I'm like, that's like so ridiculously stupid, but I love it.
And Diesel wasn't a little guy. Diesel was 7 foot, right?
He was 7 foot. He was 7 foot. He's still to this day the biggest baby to come out of the Detroit hospital, the main hospital in Detroit.
How big was he?
Oh, huge. I can't remember the weight. He's 7 foot. He's a big guy. I used to play basketball. They were big. But I just got so into wrestling in 1996 when like Shawn Michaels won the title with Brett. And I just got so into it. It was like I've never been into anything. So I used to think, oh, wrestling's fake, which obviously it is, but not in the same way. I don't look on it that way. And I just got so. But obviously that they're big guys. When you're watching that every day, you're like, well, that's kind of what I'm used to looking at now. So it's like. And I love like training anyway. So that's how I feel I should look like to some degree. And then just started gymming out. And I got my best man at my wedding, or the 2 best men, but the one who ribbed me for my book. He's a big guy, and we used to train together. And you just once get, isn't it? You just get into it. And there's obviously I suppose the girl factor as well. As you are when you're young. Yeah. So it just kind of all manifests But it was for me, it was just never a sport. I was never an athlete. It was never like an athletic thing. It was all about really feeling of lifting weights, the feeling you get, the commitment to it, and the aesthetics. Now, the aesthetics are great, but I find the more I actually focus on training properly, the aesthetics are better.
Well, let's do something real quick. Let's back up a little bit. What about these Rocky movies? Oh, that was a good one. Hey, what was your favorite Rocky movie? Okay, well,
besides did you have one? Huh? Besides one, because one is one. So
one is one.
Do you know? A lot of people say 4. I'd actually probably say 3.
Yeah, it's a toss up between.
If you had Hogan and Mr. T, and I like all of them. I like 5. I like them all. But
it's always a toss-up between 3 and 4 with me.
The only problem I had with 4, and the music is awesome, but it hasn't got any of the original music in it. So it lost the 70s vibe and went to the 80s vibe, which the music's sick. I mean, you can't deny, but they never have the main music in it. When he's training, they never have the old school montage, Gonna Fly Now. So that's the thing. It was so good as an 80s film, like a standalone, but yeah, the only thing about 2 is that I found it just was a little bit in the middle, a bit boring when he starts trying to find the house and they're trying to kind of he doesn't really happen for like 45 minutes. A long time. But in terms of art and acting and character development, it's absolutely brilliant. But so 1 to 3, then probably 4. It probably does go kind of in order really, but 6 was good. The Rocky Balboa. It was good. It's just so much later on. You kind of put it as a separate thing.
I think one of the main things I liked about the Rocky 4 movie, other than the training scene when he was in Russia, was the way that the gloves used to hit. Like I think he was doing a commercial. They were like Gold Glove, and they would come out like this.
Oh, at the beginning, and it's rotating around, and they go, bam! Yeah. That's right.
Like those graphics, like I love those gloves, like back in the day. Yeah, it was just crazy. And then like when Apollo, when he died. So in a way, I think I want to give it to 3. I think 3 is probably my top. I think at one time it was 4, but as I look back now, it's probably 3. Mr. T, the emotion, his trainer died and he got his butt whooped. And
you get like 3 fights. You get the Hogan fight.
Yeah.
The Mr. T1 and the Mr. T2.
Yeah.
And then technically right at the end when they kind of do their own thing at the end. So there's a lot of action in 3. It doesn't, I think they learned from 2 and go, well, 2 was great, but it was a bit slow. Let's just kind of pop it on steroids and just go, and I like on 3. And it's still got the original music.
Yeah, I liked how he went to go train with Apollo Creed too, because he got to go, he got to go to the hood, got to train, and it was a totally different.
I love it. The white guy with no rhythm was good.
Yeah, no rhythm, and then he got it, and it was just
so
like,
brilliant. The politician. And the homoeroticism on the beach.
Yeah,
they got the soft tops. That is, you cannot beat that.
That's one of the greatest. That's probably You say bromance.
Yeah, bromance.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate bromance.
The ultimate. I don't think there is a better bromance than those two, especially doing that one. Yeah,
even now. Google and that's it.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. How often do you train?
Okay, right. If it wasn't for these bloody books, then I'd be training without a doubt 5 days a week in terms of strength. And then I'd probably spend the 6th day just doing literally just stretching. And obviously I'll stretch anyway, but like in terms of I wouldn't actually train. I'd just probably do some like dynamics, bit of foam rolling, and then just do some statics and just kind of once again to make sure that everything I've done over the week doesn't then stiffen me up for the next week. So even though you stretch afterwards, and it's good to have separate stretching. What I've actually quite good actually is the foam, the massage guns.
Yeah, I got one.
They're not bad, are they?
Yeah, I got one. I like it. My son.
You can't go overboard in it, but it's not bad.
Yeah, my son uses it all the time. He's like, Dad, where's the gun? Where's the massage gun? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it's like, but I like it too. I use it. I put on a low setting and sometimes just sit there and just stick it on my leg and just let it go.
Yeah, you know and it's good. I mean, recommend for anyone. I suppose if I was going to recommend a few things just to kind of like, so people can kind of like, okay, well,
I
think the massage gun, TRX, those 2 things, the foam roller, if you kind of, if you don't want to do the massage gun, I mean, either or are good, but the foam roller, sometimes, once again, if you can't support your own body weight that well, do you find with the foam roller, sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable to kind of hold yourself for that long. So like, talk about isometric triceps, you're just like, holding yourself. Those 2 things are great, and purely if you can afford it and you want to do some stuff at home and you can afford to get them, get the adjustable dumbbells. So you haven't got to worry about having all these weights. And you've got some adjustable dumbbells, and also a good set of resistance bands for the small things. So like if you want to know, so just like you get sort of light, heavy, medium, the little colored bands you can just put around your ankles or above your knees, and you can sort of add in, especially a lot of like abduction of the hips and stuff like that. So work the glute medius a bit more. So off the top of my head, those are kind of things I would say definitely to get if you're not going to go to the gym. Those things are really, really good to have. So we've got company now. We got.
Oh, what's his name or her name?
I've got all 3 in now. All 3 of them in. It's like the place is a bit of a mess because we've just had the wedding and we've still got all the wine all stored. So from the leftover. But so man. So that's what I'd sort of say. It's particularly that TRX. If you can get TRX and you can put it somewhere, then you can manipulate your own body weight. And
can you put those TRX? Can you put that on the end of the door? Can you put it on your door?
Yeah, in fact.
I thought so.
Can you see that little tag, that little black tag? There, right, so that's actually in the door, and you clip the actual TRX on there, and then that's not going anywhere. So you can, so you can adjust it that way, or you can get a bracket that you can put in the wall and just hook it straight on.
Yeah,
so
I've seen those. I've seen like, they had like big TRX. I remember when it like first came out. We did it. They had like TRX in the gyms and certain
Mm.
military posts and stuff like that. And I've done it a few times. I think that certain exercise you got to have some grip strength too.
Yeah. But then you suppose you've also got grip strength to lift a deadlift off the ground and pull ups, and so you're right, and you do, and you can get those grip things. You can just practice your grip with, and I think the only thing though, and this is another thing I'll say, is there's a couple of things, right, that we spend a lot of our time doing that if we did the opposite, it would really help.
Okay.
Right. Gripping. We're constantly flexing. Right. So if we can work on our extensors more, you can get like bands you put around your fingers and you just extend, or even like painting the fence where you focus on extension and really, rather than just the flexion of the wrists and the fingers, just doing the opposite, just opening everything up and back. And it's the same, man. I think society these days, everything is geared towards our posture being bad. So, protraction of the shoulders. So we want to focus on doing the opposite, the retraction of the shoulders, face pulls, wall slides, anything you can do where you're, even just chin tucks, just tucking your chin back. Anything you can do where you're kind of fight the thing you're going to, because don't forget, you think of it, you're basically at war every day with this.
Yeah.
And this. Everything's in it. So you need to find a way of combating that consistently so you're not going to end up like Mr. Burns when you're older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe with the money, I could live with it.
Yeah.
But
you can buy what you want.
So I think those definitely focusing on kind of that extension a lot more. And the other obviously one is obviously the shortening of the hips by sitting down so much. And the shorter the hip, two of your hip flexors connect to your spine. So if your hips are tight and short, they'll pull on your lower back, and you think it's your back sometimes when it's actually your hips, causing sort of anterior pelvic tilt, and you end up with really bad back, but it's not the back that's necessarily causing it. I mean, it can be, but it's the hips that play a huge part in that.
Yeah, I think
that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people sit down a lot more now than we used to, especially when we growing up. Like, we were outside, we were always playing. Now, and I work at the elementary school, and those kids have phones early. It's kindergartners with iPhones.
Yeah, totally.
And the iWatches or Apple Watches or whatever they call it. All of that stuff. And it's like, man, and like I see very young kids who are severely overweight already. I mean, they're in kindergarten and first grade, and I've seen kindergartners 100 pounds. It's like, how?
How? Yeah.
So
combination of it all, really, isn't it? I mean, nutrition is number one, but it's the lack of movement and the nutrition, and that is actually something that I do touch on in the Breaking Bad eating habits, is the role of parental influence, even pre-birth. There's pre-birth and there's post-birth, and then there's also marketing and how society is. We're geared. We are geared towards bad nutrition and bad posture, and we know these things. This is like becoming the norm.
Yes.
So it's like I'm just trying to do something that's been said, but it's not like it hasn't been said before. It's nothing. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm just reiterating what's been said. The problem is that not enough people are saying it. So the more books out there that reiterate the same message, I just do it in a way that's quite easy to read, I like to think, and that isn't like too sciencey. I don't want the books to be really really long and really sciencey, because there is a lot of that in it. But at the same time, you need to be able to read the book without wanting to like give up on it after. So
So here's what I don't understand. I started getting into the fitness space a couple of years ago, and actually earlier this year is when I started my Facebook group, and then last month or so I started doing these conversations. But a lot of people are talking about how oversaturated the fitness market is. At the same time, the majority of our population is overweight.
Yes.
So I don't understand, how is that possible? Do you think I know part of it is a lack of information, but I don't understand how that can be. Why do you think we have so many overweight people in the world right now, or even in the world, right? Why do you think we have so many overweight people, other than just the marketing of bad information and bad stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like,
as far as
I'm not,
people, I guess, as far as people, as far as their individual. Why do you think individuals? Let me clarify. Why do you think individuals are just not into fitness and stuff like that as a whole?
well, I think it's kind of a divide because you've kind of got this society now that some people are super into fitness, like more than ever. Like, I mean, we know so much more now. We know carbs aren't the enemy, and we know you got to eat the right carbs that are in the right portion size. And you don't need to give up carbohydrate, because then you'd be giving up vegetables.
Yeah.
But I know what I mean by carb. I know we mean like pastas and rice.
Yeah, rice.
If you really go, like brown basmati rice, you eat brown pasta, sweet potato, even white potato is fine. But you're just trying to. I think you got definitely got this kind of thing of, and I think obviously besides like marketing a big business, there's more marketing in marketing a chocolate bar than there is have an apple, because what are you going to do? Nestle apple. It's not going to work, is it?
Yeah.
So fruit is not very marketable as a product because it's not yours. You can't own an apple. You can't copyright an apple. But you can copyright a chocolate bar. You can have so it's easy to market. This is your brand. It's hard to brand fruit. And also, if you say it's oversaturated, and you're 100% right, but how many? How much fitness do you see being marketed on TV in adverts? It's all junk food. It's all, and especially in America, it's a lot of it's pharmaceuticals, and it comes down to really where the money is, isn't it? I guess in terms of like branding and marketing and being able to claim it as your own. That's one element, isn't it? But I think also I do think it is. I think maybe a bit of it is intimidation, because when you do have a kind of one or the other, all right, we are on the super fit juicing, fasting crowd who go to the gym and have your decaf soy latte, and I wouldn't advocate soy, by the way. But if you've got the other side where it's like McDonald's, it's quite intimidating to then and I think a lot of it is what people do look down on people who are overweight. And we were just talking about this a minute ago, and my wife was talking about sort of celebrating people who are being overweight these days in magazines. I'm like, I don't think we should celebrate obesity, but at the same time, I don't think you should tell people they should be able to celebrate being fat if they want to. That's called freedom. If you want to celebrate being fat, that's great. I just don't think you should look down on people being fat. You can still be like, look, well, you're not healthy, maybe, and we help you with that. But it's difficult because you have to. There is a certain line of you have to live and let people live their lives, but at the same time, you want to help. You don't want to be like, you don't want to put people down. Overbearing and sufferable, and you see it a lot. It's like the people who you tend to kind of dislike the most, especially like celebrities, are the people who tend to lecture you about things. Yeah. But they always tend to do it themselves, don't they? They lecture you. And you think, well, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not saying you're not right, but you're a hypocrite. So it's also like looking down upon people. It's difficult. Not everyone, and also not everyone's going to be healthy. It's just that's the way of the world. It's just not. We're never going to have a utopia like that. There's always going to be fat people in people. There's always going to be people in the middle. And funny, I would actually say I'm probably someone in the middle. I do work out, 4 to 5 times a week. I do eat very, very good nutrition. My macronutrients are really good. But I do, obviously, like everyone, I like, of course I like cookies and I like milk, I like wine. It's just knowing when to kind of, do it and when not to. And once again, it's that whole thing of I don't think you should let those things control you if you can. Yeah. But junk food makes you depressed, man. Yeah. What do you do when you're depressed? High and then you come down. That, so it's also sugar is it's kind of like you're kind of, well, I guess it's the kind of the nutrition cocaine, isn't it? Yeah. Ooh, I like that word. It's just that, it's that, it's not, it's there, it's everywhere. It's also white and
yeah, it's the other white. Yeah, it's the other
also
white.
still white, yeah.
It's the other white drug, sugar.
It's
The
just
other
a
white
hell
drug.
of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and you can
salt,
and you can
salt's
get an
white,
abundance of it. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
I
buy
mean,
all the sugar you want. You can put
all the
so
sugar
much
you
sugar in
want.
your Kool-Aid or tea. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No one's going to stop. You're just gonna, it's gonna be a slow death.
So
you know?
and keeping children happy just to have the easy life is another one.
Ooh, oh man.
I'll just shut up, watch the TV, have a chocolate bar, just so I can have a bloody hour off. You know? I mean, I haven't got kids yet, but that's what I see, and that's what I can empathize, because I can imagine me doing that. Yeah. I'm going to try not to, but at the same time, I see my brother doing it, with his daughters, and and it's not, bless him, it's not like, that's not knocking him. It's just most people want. God, I mean, if you feel like you want an hour to yourself and you can give your kid a chocolate bar
you can do that. I wasn't able to do that. I had my first child at 19.
Right. Yeah.
So, pre-cell phones, pre-tablets, pre-all of that stuff. So when my son wanted, an hour of time, I had to give it to him. Not, in a bad way, like I didn't want to, but there wasn't an option of, I'm tired. Go sit down in front of your tablet and watch whatever YouTube channel, you want. You can't do that. You couldn't do that. And I see it now,
You've got TV, I suppose, but it's still not quite as accessible.
And then there was only children's content on during certain times of the day. You know what I mean? Like during the day, unless you had cable, there wasn't no cartoons on. You know what I mean? Cartoons came on early in the morning before school. It came on afternoon, but at certain times wasn't no cartoons on. So and I like I said, I work in elementary school, and I see the kids, and I see them on the phones and not really wanting to do anything. I mean, I see kids that don't really want to go outside for recess anymore. I'm like, you don't want to go outside for recess? He's like, no, I just want to read my book. And I'm like, excellent. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I live to go outside. Like lunch and recess were my, I got A's in lunch and recess. Those are my two favorite subjects. Shoot, you signed me up.
Do you teach at elementary school? Sorry.
No, I'm a elementary school counselor. That's what I do.
Oh, you're a counselor? Oh,
yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah. So when they come to you, go, hi, my parents give me too much sugar.
Yeah. And stay off of that. What's it? Stay off the sugar. It's different because I'm from the military and then went into elementary as a counselor. It's like night and day. I went from hurting I don't know, I went from taking care of men and war and stuff like that to elementary and runny noses and complaints.
Yeah. It's gone from kind of like the man up to the mollycoddle. It's
Which
tough, man. It's very tough. And also we are dealing, and like once again, I say this all stuff without from objectively, not I've got my opinions on it, but we do live in a society now where it seems to be like we've never had it easier, yet we kind of moan like it's never been harder. And it's like my granddad fought in World War II, my great granddad fought in World War I. And when I see people moaning on about the smallest things, like, oh, listen, it's like, okay, it's not saying it's not important, but is it, have some perspective. Like, you are living in the peaceful times, and you are, anyone in both our countries, yes, there's always going to be people out there who are going to get in your way, and that could be to do with, a bigotry or something like that. But 9 out of 10 times, they're just not nice people, and you're going to get that everywhere. Bullies, maybe, and it's your job to really work around that and try and not let that define you. And when you're kids, you're kids. I mean, you got elementary school; it's different when you're kids. But it's nice to instill that into them early, that you can be who you want to be. No, and no one will ever get in you. No one can get in your way. You can do what you want to do, and look back at what your grandparents sacrificed and what the world has sacrificed to give us what we have now, and appreciate that. And when I have kids, nutrition aside, I want my kids to really understand what their great granddad and their great granddad went for to fight, so we could actually have this conversation today.
Yeah, man, that's a great perspective. And with that being said, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably
Mate.
it's after 11 o'clock your time.
Yeah. It is actually. Yeah.
Man. But
That's all good though. That's been fun.
Yeah, man. But before we do, man, any final fitness thoughts that you want to share with anybody who may buy your book, anyone who may watch this YouTube video or podcast, anything you got, man, feel free to have at it.
Sure, yeah. Okay, well, I mean, we've nattered away a bit as well, but I've said, I think consistency. If I was going to say sum it up in everything, whether it's my book or someone else's book, you're not going to get everything from any book anyone writes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying someone like me is in a situation where, I could have written a 100,000 word book, but who's going to read it? I'm in a situation where we live in the society of everything's quick. So 30 to 40,000 words is, I think, enough. And it's never going to solve everything. But I would say, let's say take Total Fitness After 40. If you read it and you go, well, that's cool, but it doesn't, maybe like this chapter doesn't go into as much depth as possible. That's not a bad thing. I've given you the introduction to that. Now go, well, maybe you want to learn more about mobility. So go out and find some really good stuff on mobility. Take the things that you feel you're neglecting in your life from exercise or nutrition and use what I've given you as a starting point to delve into it more. Because if you think I haven't told you enough about something, that means you're interested in it. So, there's some exercise and flexibility. I know kind of what to do, but okay, I want more. Well, then good. That's good. I mean, take that into a positive because I've just given you that enthusiasm to go out and do that. So from my books, I can't give you everything. And I will be doing more books on other points of these, foundations and stuff like I've done with the nutrition. But yeah, just keep consistent. It's a never ending thing, but it doesn't mean it has to be a struggle in the way it has to, find what you like. And if you can find some things in exercise, whether it's playing, like joining a club, it doesn't have to be all these 7 things like I've said to do all the time. But if you can use those elements, even in your warm up or your cool down, when you're going to play tennis, you're going to play, racquetball. There you go. Basketball, anything you guys play in the state, think, well, okay, rather than just going into that session, warm up first properly. Think, well, what's Nick said in this book? Well, okay, well, I'm going to do a bit of cardio and a bit of mobility, and then I'm going to do my tennis session. Then I'm going to stretch properly afterwards. Then you've already got like 3 of those 7 elements in the book sorted, and then go home and have a good meal, and you've got 4. And also you're doing agility, so you've got 5 if you're doing a sport, and you've got specific gear. So just, I think, that's what I'd say. I think just, you can't expect too much out of anything. Just, use these as jump off points and be happy that you're actually interested. I think that's the main thing. So
yeah,
cool.
Well, Nick,
I hope that's so without ranting too much. I hope that's all right.
No, you good, man. I really appreciate you coming on to the episode, man. And until next time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, wait, I mean, you let me know, man. If you ever want to do anything again, just let me know. And we'll chat anyway.
Man.
We'll chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when we talk about this book a little bit more. Because I think one thing that I want to talk about more is that accountability piece that you talked about with the how you said there was something in there on the parents. So I'm looking forward to getting to that part on the new book. I may skip right to that chapter first.
Yeah, and I sound like a right. I'm not 40 and I'm not a parent.
Yeah, but
so
still,
like,
I mean, people.
Yeah,
the people that don't fit into those categories can have perspective about it too. And the thing about it, sometimes when you're not in those positions yet, you can, your perspective is different, and you're looking at it from a different point of view than someone who is 40 and who is. So I think that information is totally valuable. So I appreciate it, man.
No, pleasure. And also just be positive as well. And it's difficult, and that's easy said and done, but try and just take everything day by day. Try not to look too far in the future. Just focus on what you're doing and those long-term goals, medium goals, and short-term goals. You can do different types of planning. It doesn't have to just be a long-term goal. Break it down into smaller goals, because then that way it's not as overwhelming. It is overwhelming, all this stuff. For me, it's overwhelming. For everyone, it's overwhelming. Yeah. So yeah, and just don't worry. Like, you know, no one's judging you. Just go out and do it and enjoy it if you can.
Yeah.
There's a lot of enjoyment to have. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Nick. Go out and buy Total Fitness After 40 and go out and buy Breaking Bad Eating Habits on Amazon. The link will be at the bottom. And until next time, stay consistent and stay fit 365 days a year. We are out.
Take a puff off the black and blow the smoke from my nose while I come up on the plan and try to get me some dough. I'm hunting lames down, trying to make them extinct. Tired of dancing bullshit like they fucking insane. What I gotta do to make you lames believe me?